former FBI attorney Lisa Page will not appear for a private interview with two House committees despite being subpoenaed, her attorney told Fox News Tuesday. In a statement, Amy Jeffers said her client did not have enough time to prepare and had asked the House Judiciary and Oversight and Government Reform Committees to schedule another date. The committees have not honored this request, Jeffers said. As a result, Lisa is not going to appear for an interview at this time. In a statement, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Bob Goodlatte, RVA, said, "It appears that Lisa Page has something to hide. She has known for months that the House Judiciary Committee has sought her testimony as part of our joint investigation with the Oversight Committee into decisions made by the Justice Department in 2016, and she has no excuse for her failure to appear." Lisa Page is a key witness, and it is critical that she come before our committees to answer questions as part of our investigation, Goodlatte added. Other GOP members of the Judiciary Committee slammed Page's refusal to appear, with Ron DeSantis of Florida calling it pathetic, and Jim Jordan of Ohio said she was, once again, showing the double standard. "One set of rules for regular Americans, a different set for the swamp," Jordan added. Rep. Mark Meadows, RNC, a member of the Oversight Committee, said Page's action was indefensible. Jeffers added that the FBI had not given her and Page the necessary materials to prepare for her hearing, saying the two had gone to the FBI to review the materials, but after waiting for more than 3 hours, we were not provided with any documents. Page originally was scheduled to appear before both committees Wednesday as part of their investigation into alleged bias at the Justice Department. She and FBI agent Peter Strzok, who is set to testify publicly before the committees Thursday, exchanged disparaging text messages about then-candidate Donald Trump throughout the 2016 campaign. Page and Strzok both worked on the FBI investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails and, later, special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Both were removed from the Mueller probe last year after the Justice Department's internal watchdog made the special counsel aware of the anti-Trump messages. The Judiciary and Oversight panels have already spent much of the summer holding hearings and interviews critical of the FBI and Justice Department. Democrats have strongly objected to the GOP-led investigation, saying it is an attempt to undermine Mueller's probe and sway public opinion against investigators. A report by the Justice Department's internal watchdog released last month detailed the inflammatory texts between the two, including an exchange in which Strzok wrote, "We'll stop it," in reference to a potential Trump election win. Strzok was already interviewed privately by lawmakers on the two committees for 11 hours June 27. The Judiciary Committee also held a contentious hearing June 28 with FBI Director Christopher Wray and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein.
This now a Fox News alert breaking just moments ago. Our own Catherine Herridge reporting that the corrupt FBI lawyer Lisa Page now will in fact not comply with the subpoena and will not be testifying before a closed-door session of Congress tomorrow, which she said up until about an hour ago she would be attending. Here with the reaction, author of the New York Times bestseller, Trump's America, The Truth About America's Great Comeback, and he is also the executive producer of The First American, which is now available on Amazon Prime Video. Former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich is with us. She is now citing, if I may, Mr. Speaker, the idea that, in fact, congressional source said that they did expect her, but in fact she's claiming that she didn't get the materials from Congress that she thought she would have.
Well, I mean, who knows what the deal is here? Increasingly, these guys sound like the old mafia bosses who used to show up for the Kefauver hearings many, many years ago in the early days of television, and they would sit there and they would plead the fifth. And for the country at large, it was a huge spectacle, and it kind of gave you the signal who's guilty. You're discovering that at the very senior levels of the FBI, and I believe of the Justice Department under Obama, you had a level of corruption that makes it very dangerous for them to show up and to actually testify. And so I think their lawyers, legitimately under our system, are saying to them, to protect yourself, you cannot go under oath and start talking about this stuff, or you're going to either going to reveal information that will put you in jail, or you're going to end up committing perjury. And so I think you're seeing a real example it sounds to me like if they didn't have a whole lot to hide, they wouldn't be hiding. And what we're seeing is people who I think have a lot to hide.
Well, listen, I would actually say, and I said this about the FBI Director James Comey, whoever allowed him to write that book, who was his attorney, and go on that book tour, I think did not serve him particularly well. And I reminded him at the time he had the right to remain silent. Lisa Page was the top attorney for Andrew McCabe, the deputy director of the FBI, and the boyfriend of Peter Strzok, who's at the heart of all of this. She's involved in the text messages. We will stop him, insurance policy, calling Trump every name in the book, etc. I honestly feel when you think of the ramifications and how profound it is that they wanted to literally alter a presidential election, in a way, I don't think I would allow her to testify.
Look, I think you're faced with what is increasingly obvious as a bureaucratic coup d'etat, where they literally were trying to prop up Secretary Clinton no matter how guilty she was, and they were trying to find some device to block Donald Trump no matter how innocent he was. And I think this is, if you want to see evidence that there is a deep state, all you have to do is follow this couple, all of their various tweets and text messages, and you begin to realize there was something profoundly wrong going on.
Yeah. Well, obviously there really is, because also Peter Strzok was the one writing the exoneration. He's the one that replaced gross negligence with extreme carelessness. He's the one that interviewed Michael Flynn. He didn't think Michael Flynn was lying. He interviewed Hillary Clinton. 3 days later, she was exonerated, but he had been building the exoneration case since May. This happened in July. On top of that, he was at the heart of the start of what is the phony Russia case. This guy was up to his eyeballs in every single solitary thing leading up to this election, with the desire to rush the Russia investigation so that they could get Trump. This is about impacting an election.
Look, I think for everyday common sense non-lawyers, and I'm not a lawyer, all you have to do is ask yourself the following picture. Paul Manafort, who has not been convicted yet of anything, is apparently spending 23 hours a day in solitary confinement. Meanwhile, every single person in the Clinton team, no matter what they've done, has basically been ignored, exonerated, allowed to go free. Now, if you want to see how sick the system is, look at the way they're treating Paul Manafort, and look at the way they treated Hillary's aides, including the guy who took a hammer to break up the smartphones and took bleach bit to destroy the memory of the computers. And say to yourself, how come all these people had nothing done to them, and without even being convicted, Paul Manafort is in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day? And it tells you we have a very sick system.
A 2005 tax case. And remember what the judge said, Judge Ellis III, that they're putting the screws to Manafort for the purpose that he will sing or compose, and that the idea is to use him to either prosecute or impeach Donald Trump. The judge said that in the case. Let me move on. You see the left's reaction. Fill in the blank. They had it all prepared against whoever the president chose. Your reaction to that, and of course the president's selection. This is one of the most important decisions any president will make.
Look, I'm going to go out on a limb tonight. I believe that Judge Kavanaugh was so impressive last night that his introduction by the president, his own speech, the very appearance of his two daughters and his wife and his mother and his father, I believe that this is such a remarkable and easily defendable person. I'm just going to go out tonight and say I believe at least 3 Democrats are going to ignore the suggestion of the Democratic whip Dick Durbin that they ought to commit suicide and vote no, and they're going to vote yes. And I think you're going to see a real split between the radical extremist wing of the Democratic Party and people who believe that the system really should work and that they really do want to find a way to work in the system.
The very reliable Chuck Schumer votes of Claire McCaskill and Nelson and Heitkamp and Tester and the rest of them, it's going to be interesting to watch the election year conversion, which isn't real. Mr. Speaker, great to see you. Congrats on the book. We appreciate you being with us.
Always good to be with you.